Text Me When You Arrive. A play about gender-based violence is back at the Johannesburg's Market Theatre. The show was halted due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and now it's again educating women about violence and abuse. And we're joined by the writer and cast member Thuli Nduvane. Thuli, thank you very much for your time. Now, when I read the term "Text Me When You Arrive," it reminded me of how anxious we are as women for each other, and our families are also anxious for the women that they have in their families. So text me when you arrive reminded me of how much women need to be the ones that avoid falling statistic instead of men being the ones that are taught not to perpetrate.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really where the name came from. Every party, every event, every gathering that we have together as friends, before you leave, you always need to remind your girlfriends, your sisters, your friends, let me know when you get home, send me your location, share your Uber ride with me so that we can track you and make sure that you get home safely. It is really the reality, or rather mirrors, the reality that we live in as women in South Africa particularly. But the piece is extremely satirical because I think we come in and the expectation is that these women are teaching girls how to, stay safe and protect themselves, but it really ends up differently. The journey of the story takes you on a completely different journey. And in the end, we realize that it really is nothing that we can do to protect ourselves or to make sure that these things don't happen to us, that it is in fact in the hands of men and the perpetrators.
Can you give us a snippet of what the play is about, how it looks like, who is in the play, for instance? Just a snippet. Of course, I know we can't tell the viewer everything because we're trying to get them to possibly come to the Market Theatre. So maybe sort of like a little snippet of what it's about.
All right, so the show stars myself, Thuli Nduvane, Alia Matindela, and Sibake Mangena, directed by Sinentlantla Gay, and Momo Matunyane was our mentor, came on as our director at some point. And the show is about these three women who come together and create a YouTube channel advising women on how to not get raped and killed in South Africa. It is sketch comedy, it is satirical, and we create all these scenarios which are true to our lives. We have scenes in a taxi, we have scenes in the workplace, in the home, and these tips and tricks for women to protect themselves in some way, shape, or form. And in the end, the girls are stumped. They're trying to find the next rule, and nothing is coming to them because at the end of the day, there really is not much else that we can do. We explore staying at home and only going to safe places. We explore only staying with family and covering up before you leave the house, and all the things our mothers told us, all the things that we were shamed for and advised not to do. And in the end, the girls come to realize that there really is nothing that they can do. And we hope that that is what is left with the audience member as they leave. Comedy is a way to get people in, to draw them in, to allow them to be interested in what we have to say. And then the punchline in every scene, in every rule, hits you in the gut. And there's no ways that you can leave the theater the same person. We used satire and comedy, particularly because we find that it is difficult to have these conversations with men. When you start on the note of, we are being raped and killed, and we are scared, and it's your fault, and you stop doing what you're doing, they completely shut down. They completely switch off and don't want to have the conversation. So we borrow from protest theater tools, poor theater tools of shows like Woza Albert, for example, that took to stages around the world to tell the world about apartheid and what was happening in South Africa. So being trained at the Market Theatre Laboratory, we have a lot of those skills and tools in our back pockets to say, how do we present these messages in a way that will invite people in, that will make them think that let's have a good time together, let's have a laugh together. And in the end, you're left changed.
And I mean, going back to what you said earlier, Thuli, that these three women create a platform on the internet to advise women on how to avoid falling prey or being part of the statistic. And you mentioned a few places. You mentioned a taxi, you mentioned work, you mentioned places to party. So basically, you know, what you reminded me is that we're not safe anywhere we go. Sometimes even in your own home, somebody can come in and take advantage.
Absolutely. 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 And that is really what rings true. I think after the news of Uyinene broke out, we then really realized that there is no place that we are safe in South Africa. There is no place that we can really feel protected and say that, you know, here it will definitely not happen. We live this in every single space, just trying to get to and from work, at work, in the Uber, in the grocery store. There is really no place where we completely are safe, even in our own homes.
And of course, you know, before I ask you the details of the play and when people can see it, you know, as a person who's written such a play, who is involved in it and even acts in it, you know, hearing the news, like you said, of Uyinene Mrwetyana, it was the 2nd anniversary of her death this month. Then you hear during the same month of Nosicelo Mthebeni. You know, what is it, as, you know, as a person who's written this, that you know, during the research that you've done while writing this play, what is it that you think should be done in terms of police and this specializing of police units and possibly even courts?
Yeah, that's definitely what I think should happen. I think that there should be special units in every community, in every suburb, in every mall, and ideally on every street corner, because we really never know where and when these things happen. And it's things that happen on a micro level, things that happen on a macro level. I think our police forces also need to really be trained on the severity of situations like reporting rape cases. You know, is there therapy offered at the police station? Is there a safe landing space for women to come in and speak about what they've just experienced, as opposed to us being afraid to go to the police station? We have a scene where we talk about essentials for your handbag, and we talk about how we need to have a full police station in our handbags, because if maybe they're in our handbags and they witnessed the crime, maybe they'll believe us. We've heard so many stories of women who report their rape cases and are turned away or are told to go sort the issue out at home. So I think there is so much that can be done, and so much opportunity for job employment, for job creation in those spaces, to have those special units, to have, you know, people who are on the streets patrolling, particularly for those incidents, and opportunity for training for our SAPS to just be sensitive. Sensitivity training, trauma training is very, very important, and to have mental health professionals in police stations there to create a safe landing for women and men who might be victims to sexual assault.
And Thuli, very quickly, because I'm running out of time, details about when people can come to the Market Theatre to watch this play.
All right, so we have 3 more shows running for the rest of the weekend. We opened on Thursday. We have another show this afternoon at 1 p.m. at the Market Theatre Laboratory, another at 7 p.m. tonight, and then again tomorrow at 3 p.m. You can book your tickets on web tickets. If you just text me when you arrive, you should find all the details, and you book your tickets online, because COVID regulations don't allow a large number of people inside the theatre at a time. So please book your tickets online.